Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Krishna Krishna.
Krishna Krishna.
Hare Hare.
Hare Hare.
Hare Rama.
Hare Rama.
Hare Rama.
Hare Rama.
Rama Rama.
Rama Rama.
Hare Hare.
Hare
Shri Hare Krishna Mahamantra ki
Jai.
Thank you all so much for very kindly coming here. I don't say this often, but I almost feel as if I am back home, because every place that I go is a little foreign to me. I have not been there, but New Jersey is a place where that's pretty much the first place where I came after I came to the US for my masters. For devotees who are not familiar with my ugly face, in 2017 and 2018 I was here. I did my masters, and after that somehow Krishna kicked me out of New Jersey and put me with the devotees of Seattle. So very, very happy to be back in the midst of all the wonderful devotees here. And it's so wonderful to be amidst devotees in a day and age where every single thing that we see on the television, every single thing that we see on the laptop, every single thing that we see on our phones, whether it's the reels. My goodness, I always say this. The way we chant is exceptional. If Haridas Thakur saw our chanting, he would have had a heart attack. I'll show you. Let's do a demonstration. Our chanting is very extraordinary. So we start this way, right? I almost feel I'm addressing some newcomers. We start this way, and then we do our first round, we do our second round, and then this guy comes into the picture. And then with the index finger, beads are also moving, reels are also moving. Only if Prabhupada knew this is the purpose of the index finger, he would have stitched this also. Devotees are multitasking. We know Krishna is multitasking. My goodness, the way devotees multitask, chanting and reels, chanting and driving. In India, I have seen devotees, they will chant, they will move the steering wheel, they will also change the gear. My goodness, devotees are exceptional. Don't you think so? They do things which outsiders will get bewildered. Maybe we would want to settle down. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So again, very, very happy to be in the midst of all the devotees here. Before we start, let us all chant the Mangalacharan prayers, seek auspiciousness from our spiritual superiors like Srila Prabhupada, and then get started in our today's discussion. If you have these Mangalacharan verses by heart, kindly chant along. And if you do not, we can give a very humble, submissive oral reception. These mantras are very, very powerful. Irrespective of whether we know them or not, it causes a transformation in the heart. So let us all chant the Mangalacharan prayers. Om Jnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Pradamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sadhana Raghunathan Vidam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Shri Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute नमस्ते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशकारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। Together. Hare Krishna कृष्णा कृष्णा हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे हरे। गुरवे गौरचन्द्राय राधिकायै तदालये कृष्णाय कृष्णभक्ताय तद्भक्ताय नमो नमः। आनन्दलीलामय विग्रहाय हेमावदिव्याच्छविसुन्दराय तस्मै महाप्रेम रसप्रदाय चैतन्यचन्द्राय नमो नमस्ते। चैतन्यचन्द्राय नमो नमस्ते। चैतन्यचन्द्राय नमो नमस्ते। नित्यानन्दम् अहं नौमि सर्वानन्दकरं परं हरिनामप्रदं देवम् अवधूत शिरोमणि। श्री चैतन्य महाप्रभु की जय। श्री नित्यानंद राम की जय। समस्त गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। If there is some active engagement for the kids are very very attractive. Naturally the heads move wherever the small kids are. So if there is some active engagement downstairs or whatever, if there is some facility, if they are going to sit and hear, wonderful.
The parents, yeah, they want to hear. They don't want to go. Yogi.
Hey, you can sit. Hey, I am speaking about chota, bacha party. Toddlers, huh? How old are you?
13.
From when did 13 count as toddlers?
My family.
Yes, those are small, preferably. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. ठीक है, ready? Everyone? No? Prasadam? That is one anga of Krishna consciousness we all like. Every congregation, right from a toddler to an adult. Prasadam is, and will be our favorite limb of Krishna consciousness. So again, once again, before we start, I express my heartfelt gratitude to all of you all. To the management of ISKCON, Bergen County, Ramchandra Prabhu, Ramatulsi Prabhu, and other devotees, senior devotees present here. Please accept my humble obeisances and please accept my heartfelt gratitude for very kindly having me in your Sangha. Srila Prabhupada, when Srila Prabhupada was there in Jhansi, when Prabhupada was a Grahastha, Prabhupada was there in Jhansi, 1954. So one time Prabhupada was distributing Back to God in magazines and few other books. So he went to one of his friend and he gave one of these books. The friend looked at Prabhupada and said, Swamiji, what will I get by studying this book? Prabhupada said, by studying this book, you will go back home, back to Godhead. That person said, after going back home, back to Godhead, can I come back to Jhansi? Prabhupada said, no. Then he said, you keep your book with yourself. It's very interesting the type of questions that people ask when you go out for book distribution or when you're preaching. Here is Prabhupada wanting to distribute books. He's personally coming. And the person after going back home, back to Godhead wants to come back to Jhansi. So we see time and again, Srila Prabhupada spent his life, his whole human existence to preach about Krishna consciousness. In the 10th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam, chapter 53, where the section of Rukmini is presented, 52, 53, 54, etc. Parikshit Maharaj looks at Shukadev Goswami. Shukadev Goswami is the speaker of Srimad Bhagavatam. Parikshit Maharaj is the listener. Just imagine from the standpoint of Parikshit Maharaj. He had just 7 days to live. Srila Prabhupada explains, none of us know whether we have 7 days, 7 hours, 7 minutes, 7 seconds, 7 nanoseconds. None of us know. None of us know whether tomorrow morning we are going to see the rising sun. We take it for granted. But none of us know whether it's practically feasible. Now just imagine, let's flip roles. We have always heard about Parikshit Maharaj having 7 days. Let's flip roles. Imagine we are cursed and we have 7 days to live. What will we do? Close our bank account? Write the will in the name of our son? Clear off all the debt, all the EMIs? If possible, sell the car? Make sure all the arrangement for our family members is done. Right? That's pretty much what we will do. How many of us will leave everything to the side and sit and hear Srimad Bhagavatam? None of us. Just close your eyes, flip roles and think, how many of us will do it? None of us will do it. And let's take it into consideration. Parikshit Maharaj did not have the wealth that we have. Parikshit Maharaj was the Mukesh Ambani of Mukesh Ambanis. Imagine showing your bank balance to Mukesh Ambani. It's going to be fun time for him. Counting the number of zeros in comparison to the number of zeros that he has in his bank account. Do you think he is going to get impressed seeing your bank account? No. And here is Parikshit Maharaj who owned more wealth, more kingdom, more property, more army, more infantry. He had everything much more than what we possess. Still, when he was cursed, he gives up everything, sits on the bank of Ganga and hears Srimad Bhagavatam. I was hearing to a class of Srila Radhanath Swami Maharaj, and Maharaj was saying, every breath that we take is a death breath. Let that sink in. Every breath we take is a death breath. In fact, there's a class on YouTube. That name of the class itself is Every Breath is a Death Breath. It's a Sunday feast class. Classic. Must hear. Must hear. After you go back home, I heard it a couple of days back. And I heard it at 12 o'clock at night. Believe me, I didn't get sleep that night. It's a classic. I sent it to some of the youth in Seattle and they loved it. Every breath is a death breath. There's no story in it. We all know the stories. But it's a wake-up class. It's a reminder. It's a wake-up call. And that is our reality. And here is Parikshit Maharaj, looks at Shukadev Goswami and says, my dear Gurudev, I have heard about Rukmini. But who was Rukmini? How did she hear about Krishna? Did she meet about Krishna? Did she hear about Krishna from someone? What was the connection? How did she get to know about Krishna? Bodhayanta Parasparam. When devotees come together, we speak and hear about Krishna. Oftentimes I see when youth come together, the classic form of discussion is not Krishna Katha. Netflix. Netflix. What's the latest TV show? How to make sure in one account how 2 users can use it. I have seen this in multiple congregations, Chicago, Seattle, Portland, how in one account 3 people can use it. The youth are very interesting. I was at one place, in fact, this was Seattle. And oftentimes you see the youth, when parents say something, they tell the parents, hey, generation gap. You don't know. You are 1970, this is 2023. Maybe generation gap. I was in Seattle and one of the youth, they told me about one app. The name of the app is Be Real. How many of you all have heard it? The youth are acharyas in this. How about the adults? Has anyone heard? Be Real? No. Good. You are protected. They told me, Prabhuji, Be Real. I said, what does it mean? The explanation that they gave made no sense to me. So apparently it's an app where in a day probably it sends you a notification and you have to click yourself and show as if you're real. You are not real. You are not real. You may be doing some nonsense. For that photo you smile. So it's actually you are being artificial. But the name is Be Real. So they were explaining this to me and it didn't make any sense to me. So I was saying, can you explain again? They said, Prabhuji, generation gap. You don't know. And I was thinking, the youth who told me were 18-year-olds. And I said, come on. Your parents may be 35 years older to you, but I am like, come on, we are same generation. I also studied in this country. I also did my masters. It's not that much of a generation gap. The youth are very fascinating. So when the youth come together, seldom do we hear Krishna Katha. And oftentimes even when adults come together, seldom do we discuss Krishna Katha. What's the classic form of discussion? What's going on in the office? If it's Mataji's, aaj khane mein kya banaya? अरे वो तो लास्ट टाइम तो चौली वो सब लास्ट टाइम बनाया था, वो क्वालिफाई वाला लास्ट टाइम बनाया था, अब नया क्या कुछ अलग रेसिपी बोलो प्रभु जी. And if it's Prabhuji's, it's like you exactly know what I'm talking about. It's the common classic form of discussion in every congregation. But we don't discuss Krishna Katha. There may be exceptions. I'm not ruling that out. But oftentimes we speak about things of this world. But when devotees come together, our whole and sole purpose should be only to discuss about Krishna. Because material topics anyway we are discussing outside. Why to contaminate the assembly when we are coming with devotees? It is these devotees who are going to give me the ticket to go back to Krishna. And I am practically jamming the doors of spiritual world on my face by discussing material topics with them. Who's the loser? Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj would say, when we discuss topics of this world with the devotees, when it's absolutely not required, we are jamming the doors of spiritual world on our face. And look at Parikshit Maharaj. He's asking questions. Who is Rukmini? How did she meet Krishna? Who was the Brahmana? I have heard bits and pieces. Like oftentimes devotees I have seen, verses we remember bits and pieces. We may remember the first line, we may remember the last line. Beach ka Gaur Premanande. We know how we by heart verses and how we remember them. Shukadev Goswami starts speaking. He explains as to how there was a king by the name Maharaj Bhishmaka. What's the name? What's the name? What's the name? Maharaj Bhishmaka. Maharaj Bhishmaka had couple of children. Rukmi, please repeat Rukmi. Rukma Bahu. Rukma Ratha. Rukma Mali. Rukma Kesha. Rukmini. Who is that person who can repeat all of them? Let's see. Let's give it a try. Rukmi. Everyone is saying, Prabhuji, Rukma. आगे fill in the blank. Prabhuji, आप बोलिए Prabhuji, हम आपके साथ हैं. Okay, let's do it. Rukmi, Rukma Bahu, Rukma Mali, Rukma Kesha, Rukma Ratha, and Rukmini. Now what's the commonality in all the names? Rukma. What does Rukma mean? Rukma means gold. All of them had the complexion of gold, and that's why their names were Rukma. In the present day, the names are very fascinating. Chintu, Monu, Sonu, Pappu. How many Telugus here, by the way? Nana. Only few Telugus? Only one Telugu? Only 2-3 families? Please come to Seattle. For y'all, you have not seen what Telugu community is. For y'all, it is Gyan. For me, it is Vigyan. You all don't know what Telugus are. My goodness. When I went to Seattle in 2019, no offense for any Telugus, please. Please take it in the light spirit. In 2019, when I went to Seattle, one thing you see, wherever tech is there, technology is there, Telugus will be there. Just like Krishna says, Yatra gayanti mad bhakta tatra tishtami narada. Wherever my name is sung, I am present. Likewise, wherever IT jobs are there, Telugus will be there. Microsoft, Amazon, LinkedIn, Tesla, SpaceX. I am saying it because he was in SpaceX, he was working there. And he's a Telugu, by the way. You were with Microsoft also. So when I went in 2019, 2 Telugus were talking amongst themselves. And they were speaking in Telugu. And I had no frame of reference what they're talking about. I am a South Indian, but I am Tamil. So I don't know what Telugu is. So they were talking in Telugu. For 10 minutes they were talking and I, like kebab mein haddi, I was standing there. And I was not understanding anything. So I said, Prabhuji, maybe English, we are living in America. Maybe Hindi, Indian language. Speak something which I can follow. Telugu I don't understand. That Prabhuji looked at me and said, why don't you learn Telugu? I said, this is height. I'm in America and you expect me to learn Telugu. It is United States of Andhra Pradesh. In Seattle it is Ito Telugu, Parato Telugu, Yeto, Ayami Tato Telugu. Everywhere Telugu. Every second house is Telugu. You know what I'm talking about. They are from Seattle. They are the youth of Seattle. So you all have not seen Telugus. Please come to me. Let's do one-on-one DYS session. Discover yourself. What's the majority here? Gujaratis? How many Gujjus here?
Many.
2-4 हाथ उठाए. What is the majority? क्या है? Marwadi?
Diversified New Jersey.
How many Indians? I remember I had always heard New Jersey is known for Indians. Of course, now Indians are there everywhere, so it doesn't hold true. Every nook and corner you'll find an Indian now. That day has gone when this country belonged to the Americans. We have defeated them. I remember when I came to New Jersey for the first time, I went with a friend to Jersey City, the Indian street. And I was amazed as to how in America, this is the first time, I was amazed how you have so many Indian restaurants. I was like, wow. Then something interesting happened. I was going ahead. You know, in Indian street, there is one restaurant called as Chutneys. So prior to that, there was a pan shop. Shop is there, that is good. I was surprised when I looked down, there were stains on the road. Pan stains. I thought this is valid only in India. It's valid in America also. All glories. So we see 5 children were there, 5 boys were there, and then 1 sister. Rukmini was the oldest and Rukmini was the youngest. Rukmini is from the present day Vidarbha, which is in Maharashtra. So she was a Marathi. How many Marathi is it? Any Marathi? Me Marathi? Couple of Marathis. So she was a Maharashtrian. And that's why Rukmini has a name, by then she's called as Vaidharbi. What's the name? Vaidharbi, because she's from the present day Vidarbha, Maharashtra. So all of them had this tradition of Rukma because their complexion was gold. And Shukadev Goswami is explaining this, how their name has this commonality. There was one person in Germany by the name Hans Carey. And this was during the days when Germany had this conflict with the Jews. You see in Journey Home also how this conflict was there with the Jews and how Srila Radhanath Maharaj hitchhikes from there and then comes to Vrindavan and then he is what he is, Srila Radhanath Swami Maharaj. So there was one person by the name Hans Carey and he was living in Germany and there was this constant conflict of the Jews. So he didn't like his name because there was so much atrocities that were going on. He didn't like. He got to know about ISKCON. He became very happy. Why? Not because of prasadam. ISKCON is such a place. If you go to our ISKCON temples, you keep gold in ISKCON temple, you will get it back. You keep a plate of prasadam, you will not get it back. Tried and tested. You keep gold, Sunday feast, you will get it back. Prasadam plate nahi milega. Yad gatva na nivartante. Once gone, gone. So here we find this person was there and this conflict was there. So when he got to know about ISKCON, he was very happy, not for the prasadam, but he got to know, hey, during Diksha, name changes. Different people come to ISKCON with different reasons. 99% for this. I was in India and some topic was going on prasadam. So I told them, Gauranga potatoes. And they were just staring at me, blank. I said, you don't know Gauranga potatoes? They said, no, Prabhuji, what is it? Is it just potato? I said, you have literally not heard Gauranga potato? They said, no, Prabhuji. They said, we have not heard it. Is it some aparad? I said, yes, it's an aparad. You have not heard Gauranga potato? My goodness. Your human life is waste. Then I got to know it's a more of an American thing. Like Indians, at least in the Indian temples, you don't prepare Gauranga potatoes. So different people come to our movement with different reasons. This person came because he got to know Prabhupada will initiate, which means name will change. He became very, very happy. It was the day of Diksha. He went to Prabhupada. Prabhupada is sitting. One devotee after another. Hans Carey comes ahead. Prabhupada picks up the beads and says, your name is Hamsa Durta Das Adhikari. He said, what does it mean? Prabhupada said, very easy. Your name was Hans, add a Duta after that. Hansa Duta. Your name was Carey, add a Adi before that. Adi Carey. Hansa Duta Das Adhikari. He said, Arey Baba, before Diksha also name same, after Diksha also name same. Diksha liya, uske baad bhi naam Prabhupada ji wahi diye. So after Diksha, he went to Prabhupada and said, Prabhupada, what does Hamsa Duta mean? Prabhupada said, read Bhagavatam. And mind you, those days there was no database. No control F. Nowadays you have control F. You can search. Those days no database. Even Bhagavatam, whole Bhagavatam was not printed. So he went to Prabhupada and said, Prabhupada, who is Hamsaduta? Prabhupada said, read Bhagavatam. So he said, okay. After 6 months, Prabhupada was there on a morning walk. He again went to Prabhupada and said, Prabhupada, what does Hamsaduta mean? Prabhupada said, read Bhagavatam. So he said, okay. He understood Prabhupada is not in a mood to explain to him. After another 6 months, in Toronto, there was a room conversation going on. And Prabhupada said, Brahmananda means this, Karandara means this, Jayapataka means this, Tamal Krishna means this, Jay Advaita means this. Hamsaduta Prabhu was there. He put his hand up and said, Prabhupada, who is Hamsaduta? Prabhupada said, you. Prabhupada said, you. He said, Hare Krishna. He is answering everyone's name, he is giving meaning. When I am asking, he is doing this. Prabhupada was very hilarious. Very bitty. Rupa Goswami says one of the 26 qualities of a sadhu is they are very bitty. Very, very bitty. And Prabhupada had that instant humor. So here we find these names. Rukmi, Rukma Bahu, Rukma Mali, Rukma Kesha, Rukma Ratha and Rukmini. Then Parikshit Maharaj said, okay, what about them? Explain a little more. He starts explaining as to how Rukmini had practically not seen Krishna. Shrutva gunan bhuvana sundara shrinvatamte nirvishya karna vivarai haratongatapat रूपम दृशाम दृशिमताम अखिलार्थ लाभम त्वया च्युता विशति चित्तम पत्रपम में कात्वा मुकुंद महति कुलशील रूपा. Very beautifully, Bhagavatam explains. She's saying, Rukmini is saying, these are the prayers of Rukmini. Canto 10, chapter 52, text 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43. There was a time when during COVID in Seattle, we would have the morning calls. And after our morning japa, we would chant these verses. Prayers of Rukmini, prayers of Vritrasur, prayers of Dhruva, prayers of Prahlad, so on and so forth. What is Rukmini saying? Shrutva Gunan. She has heard about Krishna. She has not seen Krishna. Oftentimes people have this question, भगवान को कभी देखे नहीं है, बिना देखे कैसा प्रेम हो सकता है? अरे रुक्मिणी है, रुक्मिणी भगवान को देखी नहीं थी. केवल श्रवण करने मात्र से भगवान के प्रति इतना प्रेम जागृत हुआ हृदय में. भगवान को देखी नहीं थी, केवल कथा श्रवण की थी. From whom? Narad Muni. Now Narad Muni is not the personality that is shown in the Indian daily soaps. They show Narad Muni as someone who does a lot of chugli. There is udhar chugli karte hain. Narad Muni is not like that. He is the Lord's very dear associate. He goes from place to place speaking about Krishna. So he came to Rukmini and spoke about Krishna of Vrindavan. How Krishna lifted Giriraj. How Krishna danced on the hoods of Kaliya. How Krishna killed Aghasur, Shakatasur, Bakasur. Aga, Baka, Shakataka. Aghasur, Bakasur, Shakatasur. Aga, Baka, Shakataka. Even Krishna consciousness has rap, by the way. For the youth who are into rap. I was recently in Chicago and I have no idea about who are the latest rapacharyas. I don't know any of them. I was in Chicago, we were doing a youth retreat and some topic came. So I said, please enlighten me about some latest rapacharyas. And the kids, one after another, as if quoting verses, they were giving out names. I wouldn't venture to mention, and I don't remember either. Not worth remembering. Youth are very much fascinated with rap. Shastra has rap also, by the way. You want to hear a Shastric rap? Not khane wala. The time is such, rap means khane wala yaad aata hai. Youth are fascinated by rap. You want to hear a Shastric rap from the Shastras? From the scriptures? Yes? No? Yes? You want to hear a Shastric rap? In the Narsingha Puran, okay, get ready. In the Narsingha Puran, there is a very Shastric rap. Vyasadeva says, Satye Daitya Kula Dinasha Samaye Sim Urdva Matya Kriti Tretayam Dashakandaram Paribhavam Rameti Nama Kriti Gopalam Paripalayam Vrajapure Bharam Haram Dvapare Gauranga Priya Kirtane Kali Yuge Chaitanya Nama Prabhu. Who says you have to go out to listen to the rap? Pibavata Bhagavatam Rasamalayam. If you can drink the nectar of Shastra, there's no need to go out and hear to the latest rapacharyas. I don't know the names, I just know one name when they told me in Chicago. Scott Travis? Travis Scott? Travis Scott?
Yes. Yes.
The answers are coming as if, my goodness. Even before the question ended, yes, Prabhuji, yes. Prabhuji, if you want, we'll give few more names. Dusra congregation you can quote. Shastra is everything. If someone can drink the nectar of the Shastra, even youth, the heart, mind, body will never, ever, ever go to that filthy rap. If you see the language that is used, it is hopeless. Filthy language. Vulgar language. And most often when I interact with the youth, they say, what? I ask them, what music do you like? They say, Prabhuji, rap. And I said, okay, what do you like in that, Prabhuji? It's like very fashionable, modern. And oftentimes they don't even know what the lyrics is. They just vibe to the beat. I tell them, okay, tell me some lyrics. Gaur Premanande, they don't know anything. So what are you vibing to? It's very fascinating. Oftentimes youth get into these habits not because they want to fit in a friend circle because of social acceptance. ground reality. Because of social acceptance, if I don't hear rap, I will not have friends. Let me water down and bring down my Krishna consciousness and do the things that they are doing so that I will have friend circle. प्रभु जी भक्ति भक्ति करते गए तो friends नहीं रहेंगे. प्रभु जी स्कूल में क्या करेंगे? We water down our Krishna consciousness to attract them. But the question arises, till when will we water down our Krishna consciousness to keep attracting people? Today is going to be our friend circle in high school. Tomorrow it's going to be college. Later after that it's going to be your work life. After that it may be your spouse. Then it may be your children. Till when will we keep Krishna consciousness to the side to impress people around? Haribo, we don't have much time. Human life is ticking. Every breath is a death breath. Time is ticking. We don't have time to impress people. We are not here to win a popularity contest. We are here samsiddhir haritoshanam, only to impress Krishna, only to please Krishna. Krishna is our audience. We are speaking, we are living, we are breathing, we are chanting. Everything is only for Krishna. So here, Narad Muni is speaking about Krishna. Shrutva gunan. Now Rukmini was not seeing Krishna. From the lotus lips of Narad Muni, she is hearing about Krishna. Shrutva gunan bhuvana sundara shrinvatam te. Rukmini says, my dear Lord, who are you? Bhuvana sundara. हे प्रभु, पूरे ब्रह्मांड में आपसे सुंदर ना कोई था, ना कोई है और ना कोई होगा. आप केवल शरीर से ही नहीं, मन से भी बहुत सुंदर है प्रभु. She has not even seen Krishna. Can you imagine? Just by hearing Shastra, she is mad in love. So who says you have to see Krishna to fall in love? When you see Krishna, you don't fall in love, you rise in love. It's a material term, fall in love. We don't want to fall. We are already fallen. We are already fallen. और कितना fallen होंगे? When we are in love, we rise in love with Krishna. She tells, my dear Lord, you are Bhuvana Sundara. Shrutva gunan Bhuvana Sundara Shrinvatam te nirvishya karna vivare haratonga tapa. She says, my dear Lord, the anxiety that I have in my heart, you have taken it away. What is the anxiety she had? She was getting married to Shishupal. And her older brother Rukmini was the person who was orchestrating it. She didn't want to get married. She didn't like him. He was a demon. But Rukmini was very forceful. She says, my dear Lord, now that you are about to kidnap me and have kidnapped me, you have practically taken my anxiety away. So just like Krishna can take Rukmini's anxiety, he can take our anxiety also away. We all have anxiety, we all agree? Anyone who can put their hand up and say, Prabhuji, I have no anxiety in life. कोई anxiety नहीं प्रभुजी, एकदम बढ़िया चल रहा है जिंदगी. Anyone? And if you think you have no anxiety, let me remind you. I-140. Perm processing. Vermont Center. California Center, priority date. Anxiety is there. This anxiety is there for everyone. It is like a Sudarshan Chakra hovering on our head. EB3, upgrade to EB2, then EB3 goes fast. Then you downgrade to EB3, then EB2 goes fast. Then we are in this race of upgrade, downgrade, upgrade, downgrade. Right? We have all done this. We have all played this game of upgrade, downgrade, EB2 to EB3. Some Mahapurush who's there in this room from EB1, they don't know what we are talking about. Any Mahapurush from the EB1 category here? Oh, EB1 category. My Dandavat Pranam. They don't know what we are talking about. All of you all know. Priority date, I-140. 2012, I've seen devotees, they say, Prabhuji, 2012 is the priority date. This devotee's priority date is 2013. He's got approved, mine is still waiting. Prabhuji, downgrade, upgrade, सब हो गया. क्या करें? Anxiety is there for all of us. We all have anxiety. Whether New Jersey or Seattle, we all have anxiety. Whether India, America, doesn't matter. We all have anxiety. By hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, Shrutva gunan bhuvana sundara shrinvatam te nirvishya karna vivarai haratonga tapa. Krishna as the Bhagavatam will enter our heart and steal our anxiety away. Oftentimes we have this question, Bhagavatam सुन के मुझे क्या मिलेगा? ये मिलेगा. Your anxiety for I-140 will go away. Isn't it a good deal? And it can be any anxiety for that matter. We all have anxieties in different ways. So here is Shukadev Goswami speaking about Rukmini, and then eventually we see Krishna comes and kidnaps Rukmini and protects her. This is not just in Dwarka Leela. We see Dasera is coming. In the pastimes of Sri Ram, Maya Sita, when she was there in Janakpur, it is very beautifully explained that one time Sri Ram was sent to a garden to pick flowers. And that is the same garden Maya Sita also came at the same time. That is why they almost say Ram Milai Jodi. They both came pretty much at the same time. And Sri Ram was picking a flower. Maya Sita was picking a flower. Both their eyes met. The same thing, had it been like Bollywood, you would have a background music. La 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 la. La 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 la. It may be a normal scene, but the music that they give, oh my goodness. And people get influenced highly by Bollywood. Shankaracharya writes, Balavasta Krida Sakta. When children are small, they are attracted by toys. Right? Tarunavasta Taruniya Sakta. When they become a teen, if you're a boy, you want a bike, you want a car, you want license. So that when you go to college, you can flaunt. Mercedes, Honda, or whatever the car is. So now when you're small, you want toys. When you're 18, now you want a car or a bike, especially India, you want a bike. Now it doesn't end there. First you want a bike, then you want a girl to sit behind that bike. Then you want someone to sit behind. And the youth are so highly inspired by Bollywood. They have a girl sitting behind and they are driving the bike and they think they're some Hrithik Roshan, like my goodness. That guy is getting money. You are not getting anything. You are losing your petrol. And mind you, petrol in India is getting expensive. उसको पैसा मिल रहा है, अपने को कुछ नहीं मिल रहा है. So it's so, the atmosphere that we live in is all surrounded by Netflix, by Bollywood, by music, this, that, whatever. Here Maya Sita is coming to pick flowers. Sri Ram is coming to pick flowers. And both of them see each other. Sri Ram goes back and looks at Lakshman and says, Lakshman, what did I just do? Lakshman says, what happened? He said, I looked at this girl and this has never happened before, but I feel a very unique connection. I am Dasharath Nandan. I am the son of the king of Ayodhya. How is it that I just see a random girl who's picking flowers and I just feel a connect with her? I was at one place and I was saying this. And there was a boy sitting ahead. I was at one place, I was saying this. How Sri Ram felt immediate connect with Mother Sita. That boy was hearing and smiling. You know why he was smiling. I will not explain further. That story ended, I was speaking about later Srimati Radharani, he was still smiling. Then I understood. He is in his own Leela. My goodness. It's fun to interact with the youth. Like if you have youth of your age, it's fun because the realization that they give you, oh my goodness, hair will stand on end. Romanchakam pashutaranga bhajo. So anyway. Don't worry, he was not the boy. Oh Krishna. Sri Ram told Lakshman, I don't know why I feel this connect with her. Lakshman said, you are Dasharath Nandan. You will never do anything wrong. Don't worry, my dear Lord. she is your consort. And sure enough, in the future, there was a Swayamvar that was held. And you see, Shiva's bow was kept. So many warriors came and they couldn't pick. Now the question arises, why was Lord Shiva's bow kept for marriage? In the present day, the girl's father may say, does the boy have a house? Does he have some bank balance? Does he have a car? Can he maintain my girl? These are the common things that a girl's father will say. But Janak Maharaj kept this very unique test of who can lift this thing. Why? Because when Sita Devi was small, she would clean the house. And as she would clean the house, this bow would be there in the house. So to clean, she would have the cloth in her right hand. And with her left hand, she would pick up the bow and she would clean underneath. And then she would keep it back. Janak Maharaj said, if someone has to marry her, they should at least be able to do this much. What is the use of she marrying someone who can't even lift a bow, which Mother Sita is lifting from her left hand? So that was why that condition was kept. And Sri Ram comes like a lion, Valmiki Ramayana explains. He comes like a lion, like a golden lion. And people are just looking at him. Jaws dropped. He picks up effortlessly. He strings the bow and he breaks it. And Mother Sita comes. And now's the time for Swayamvar. Sri Ram takes the garland and puts it on Mother Sita. Now it's Mother Sita's turn. Now Sri Ram is taller in height. Like you normally see. Normally the boys or the men are a little taller than the girl. Now Sri Ram has put the garland. It's time for Maya Sita. Sri Ram is not ready to bend. He is saying, I am Kshatriya. Kshatriyas don't bend in front of anyone. Others are saying, that is good, but this is marriage. In marriage, every husband bends to the wife. I was at one place. Grahastas have their own joke. Just like youth have their joke, Grahastas have their own joke. I was at one place. And that Grahastha was telling me, he said, Prabhuji, very seriously he said, with a lot of realization in the heart. He said, Prabhuji, after marriage, sister becomes sister-in-law, brother becomes brother-in-law, mother becomes mother-in-law, father becomes father-in-law, wife, she is the law, husband, he is under the law. He said it with realization. I said, for me it is Gyan, for you it is Vigyan. My goodness, every place Grahasthas will have their own 30-40 years of realization. Another place one Grahastha was telling me. He said, marriage is a relationship where one person is always right and the other person is called husband. All glories to all the Matajis. Please don't go home and have a fight. It is just what I have heard. I am simply, whatever oral reception I have got, I am just giving it. Sharing with all of you all. So here we find Sri Ram is not ready to bend. People are saying, hey, your Maryada Purushottam, okay, but this is your marriage. You have to bend. He said, no, I will not bend. I will not bend. Now if he doesn't bend, how will Maya Sita put garland? So Lakshman is standing there. Lakshman goes to Sri Ram and offers full dandavat. Sri Ram looks at Lakshman and says, Lakshman, get up. And as he bends, Maya Sita puts the garland. Sri Ram said, interesting, you are my brother, but already before marriage itself, you are on her side. Lakshman said, Bhagavan, kya karu? Marriage has to be done. But what is the teaching here? Sita Devi is like Jiva Tattva. Living entities like all of us. Sri Ram is Bhagavat Tattva, Bhagavan. Jiva Tattva can never get Bhagavan on his own accord. कितना भी भजन कर ले, कितना भी साधन कर ले, कभी नहीं होगा. How much ever we chant, how much ever we hear, we on our own ability, एकाकिया मार नाही पायो बोल हरिनाम संकीर्तन, we by our own ability can never get Krishna. It's only when Lakshman like personalities whose Guru Tattva comes and offers obeisances to the Lord and does the connection, Sri Ram is ready to bend down for his devotee and let the devotee offer the garland of his devotion. So So who says you can get Krishna by your own ability? Not possible. We all need Sri Guru. How much ever Vidwan Pandit we are. We may be PhD, MBA, MA, Stanford, Harvard, CMU. We may be any of those things. Without Sri Guru, no one in the past, no one in the present, no one in the future will get. So what are we seeing here? Earlier, Rukmini was dancing to the divine love of Sri Krishna. Dancing not necessarily means in the real sense, not in the actual sense dancing, but dancing to the mood of Sri Krishna, where she is ready, even without seeing, she is ready to dance to the moods of Sri Krishna. There, devotee is dancing for the Lord. Here, Sri Ram, who's Bhagavan, is dancing, seeing the love of Maya Sita, so much so that he bows down. It's 9:05? 9:05. What's the upper limit? We started at 8:15. 9:15? 9:30? Some are thinking, मुझे भूख लग रहा है अभी. Already those sitting behind Prabhuji, already we can have some fragrance, pakoda. I was at one place and some prasadam again topic came. So I was saying that, I just said that, sometimes we have chole and bhatura, etc. And interestingly, the host came to me and said, Prabhuji, how did you get to know? We have made that many only. I said, मैंने तुक्का लगाया. मुझे तुक्का बरोबर लगा. So I am just doing a tukka again, pakoda. Where's the host, by the way? Pakoda? No pakoda? If you spill the menu out, next 5-10 minutes mind will be just like that boy who was smiling. बोलो प्रभु जी, आप बोलो, हम आपके साथ हैं, सुनाओ प्रभु जी. We started, last 10 minutes, we started by speaking about Krishna and Dwarka Leela. We transitioned to Ram Leela. We're talking about praying, we're talking about divine love. Sripad Sanatana Goswami explains that love is like a coin. Just like a coin has two sides, heads and tails. Like I remember when we were in India, primarily used coins, those were cricket fans. Captain जो भी होता है, heads and tails करता है. Prem is like that, two sides of a coin, heads and tails. But what are the two sides of prem? Union and separation. Milan and viraha. Union and separation. Oftentimes we all have observed, when we are there with someone, we are there physically, but our mind may not necessarily be with that person. We might take him for granted. ये प्रभु जी तो है प्रभु, अपने congregation के. Familiarity breeds contempt. But when that devotee leaves, well, अरे अपने congregation में थे प्रभु जी. I'm saying this because there was one boy in Seattle, and he was extraordinarily good for book distribution. Very good. Probably in the 2 years of COVID, he distributed more than 10,000 books single-handedly. 24-year-old. He was my roommate. And due to whatever reason, somehow he had to leave the congregation and he got a job somewhere. So he went to San Diego and then he moved somewhere else. And we all felt after he left, right? After he left, the book distribution dropped drastically. In those 2 years, Seattle was in the top 10 for book distribution in COVID. And you can't go out. So he was sitting at home. And somehow sitting at home, he would just distribute books. In practically 700 days, he distributed 10,000 books single-handedly. And after he left, we all felt, when he was there, probably we just took him for granted. But now, it's kind of lost. And we all have observed that. When we are there with devotees, the physical association, we take them for granted. But when there is separation, we remember about them way more than what we would do when we had the physical presence. In separation, we remember the person or we remember the beloved more than union. This is what Mahaprabhu wants to experience. Vipralambha, the mood of separation. When Srimati Radharani, when Krishna left Vrindavan Dham, Srimati Radharani would cry. She would cry and cry and cry. She would practically go in samadhi and she would cry. And here is Krishna in Dwaraka again crying for Srimati Radharani. When Krishna would be there in Dwaraka, Satyabhama and Rukmini explain, even when these queens are present, Krishna would remember about Vrindavan Dham. At night time when Krishna is sleeping on a pillow, he would cry, Radhe, 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 Radhe. So much so that when he would get up in the morning, the pillow would be completely wet in Dwaraka. And Rukmini and Satyabhama, they are thinking, primarily Rukmini is thinking, who is Srimati Radharani? Why is it that he has so much opulence? He is the king. He has all the luxury. Vrindavan is a village. Krishna at night time when he would be sleeping, Krishna, Rukmini is explaining, Krishna has more love for the Brajagopis than he has for the queens. He has more love for the maid servants of the Brajagopis than he has for the queens. He has more love for the maid servants of the Brajagopis than he has for me. He has more love for Mother Yashoda. He has more love even for the cows and calves of Vrindavan than he has for me. What to speak of this? Krishna even loves the monkeys more than he loves me. Now this is big time identity crisis. Someone liking a monkey over you. If someone comes up to you and say, Prabhuji, wo bandar aapse better hai. The Nrsimha Roop will come out. Keshavadrita Narahari Rupa. You'll say, hey, this is aparadhi. You're comparing me to a monkey. You think that monkey is better than me? Krishna was attracted more to the monkeys who didn't know anything. More than Rukmini, more than Satyabhama, more than Jambavati, more than Mitravinda, more than Kalindi, more than any of these queens. Satyabhama and Rukmini are looking and saying, who is Srimati Radharani? Who are these monkeys? When Krishna would sleep at night, he would remember the cows. At night time, Krishna would say, Kalindi! 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 Krishna has one cow by the name Mridanga. Why? Because Krishna goes to that cow and says, my dear cow, your face is like a mridanga. Krishna goes near the cow and your face is like a mridanga. I initiate you today. Your name is Mridanga. At night time in Dwaraka, Krishna is saying, Mridanga Mukhi! Kalindi! Kalindi! Dhavali! Dhavali! Rukmini is scratching her head. What is happening to this guy? He is calling out, who are these personalities? Who is Dhavali? Who's Mridanga Mukhi? It doesn't end there. This happens on one night. Another night, Krishna says, Sridham! 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 Madhumangal! Rukmini is not understanding what's going on. Who are these personalities? Imagine your husband at night is calling out such names. After that, the Mahabharata that will happen in the morning, you know. Who are these names he is calling? Rukmini is not understanding. Satyabhama is not understanding. Who are these personalities? Even in his dreams, Krishna cannot remember, he cannot forget Vrindavan Dham. What to speak in his existence? Vrindavanam parityajya padam ekam na gacchati. He tells Uddhav, hey Uddhav, I don't leave Vrindavan. I don't keep a foot outside of Vrindavan. What to speak of leaving Vrindavan permanently? Nah, I cannot leave Vrindavan. These gopis have given their life for me. These Brajavasis have given everything for me. How can I reject them? How can I leave them? When Krishna left Vrindavan Dham, from the physical sense, Srila Rupa Goswami explains in this Lalit Madhav Natak, dear devotees, this is what Prabhupada is coming to give all of us, this mood of Braj. Our goal is not Dwarka. Our goal is not Mathura. It is unadulterated Brajras, pure Vrindavan Dham. Mahaprabhu is coming down to experience this. Aradhyo Bhagavan Brajesha Tanayas Tadhama Vrindavanam Ramya Kajitupasanam Brajavadhum Varghenaya Kalpita Srimad Bhagavatam Pramanamamalam Prema Pumartho Mahan Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhur Matamidam Tatra Dharana Para. This is the Sat Goswami Ashtakam tune. And finally, this is Sripad Vaisheshika Maharaj's tune. They sing this in ISP. I somehow like this melody that they sing. There you find the youth. They have verses that they chant in one particular melody. So all of that is compiled together. And very nicely chopped out for the youth. Aradhyo Bhagavan Brajesha Tanes. Whom do we worship? We worship Vrindavan Krishna, dear devotees. We are not behind Dwarka Krishna. We are not behind Mathura Krishna. We are purely behind Braj Krishna. Prabhupada is giving this. At night times, can you imagine? The Bhaktivedanta purports that Prabhupada is writing is night 12 to 4. When we are all sleeping. That is when Prabhupada is writing Bhaktivedanta purports. We cannot probably even write 1/4 of what Prabhupada has written while being awake. And here is a 75-year-old gentleman writing at 12, between 12 and 4 for all of us. And that when it is kept as it is, can you imagine the heartbreak that Prabhupada will feel? I am writing for all of them. And I'm practically giving it, what, $100, $150. How much is the Srimad Bhagavatam? If money is a problem, Veda base is there. How much pain Prabhupada is feeling in the heart when we don't study Srimad Bhagavatam. So one time Prabhupada at night time was translating Srimad Bhagavatam. He called one of his devotee. 1 o'clock at night, he called one of his devotee, his disciple. The disciple came to Prabhupada. Prabhupada said, what were you doing? He looked at the watch. He said, Prabhupada, 1 o'clock, I was sleeping. Prabhupada said, why were you sleeping? He said, Prabhupada, it is 1 o'clock. Everyone sleep. Prabhupada said, I am not sleeping. So he said, Prabhupada, I was tired. Prabhupada said, why were you tired? He said, Prabhupada, yesterday I did services throughout the day, so I was tired. Prabhupada said, I also did services. I am not tired. So he said, Prabhupada, you are a pure devotee. Prabhupada said, why are you not a pure devotee? So he understood his game was up. He didn't have an answer. So he looked at Prabhupada. It was 1 o'clock at night. So he said, Prabhupada, what should I do? Prabhupada said, go back to sleep. So now when he was going back, he was thinking to himself, what is the lesson? Why is he waking me at 1 o'clock? And then that disciple himself answers. Apparently he was distributing books and he had the pride or headweight that I am doing it. I am getting the funds for the temple. And Prabhupada realized that. 1 o'clock at night he called him, crushed his false ego and said, go back to sleep. We are not the doers. Krishna is doing everything. You and I are sitting here and breathing. That is also by Krishna's mercy. We have air in our lungs. We have the right oxygen. That is Krishna's mercy. What can our dollars get? Nothing. We are handicapped. We are paralyzed. We cannot do anything. With our dollars, how much can we do? We are fully dependent on Krishna. And intelligence means we realize it sooner or later. That, hey Prabhu, aapke bina mera kuch nahi ho sakta. So Prabhupada at night time is writing about the glories of Vrindavan, between 12 and 4. And here in the Lalit Madhav Natak, Rupa Goswami is explaining. He explains the origin of Satyabhama. Now when Krishna left Vrindavan, this is the last couple of minutes and then we end. When Krishna left Sri Vrindavan Dham, when Sri Krishna left Sri Vrindavan Dham, at that time, Srimati Radharani was so much in separation. that Rupa Goswami explains, she went to Kelan one of the forests, and she entered Jamuna there, practically wanting to give up her life because Krishna is not there. If Krishna is not there, what to speak of my existence? Can you imagine the love? We are also living day in and day out, and we are not seeing Krishna, but we are not getting the feeling of giving up our life. We are happy. We are getting our paycheck to paycheck. We are having the right car, the right house. We are happy, but we don't have the feeling of giving up our life because we are not able to see Krishna. What kind of love is Srimati Radharani experiencing? She jumps into Jamuna, and Rupa Goswami explains that after she enters Jamuna, Surya Dev, or sun god, takes charge of Srimati Radharani. And after Surya Dev takes charge of Srimati Radharani, from there she comes to Dwaraka as Satyabhama. Now what happened after Surya Dev took charge and what events occurred in between? What events occurred in between? Rupa Goswami doesn't elaborate that. But he says after Krishna disappeared, she enters Jamuna. She is taken charge with Surya Dev, and now she comes to Dwaraka as Satyabhama. And when she came to Satyabhama, Rukmini was the first person who saw Satyabhama. And she was radiating. Satyabhama was radiating. Why? Because she's already Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi. And now she has spent time with Surya Dev. So it's, in Hindi they say, Sone pe suhaga. She is radiating. She comes to Dwaraka. Rukmini looks at Satyabhama. And Rukmini thinks to herself, she is so beautiful. If Krishna sees her, it's possible he may like her more than me. There's some transcendental insecurity. So she decides to herself, let's do one thing. I will hide her from Krishna. I will make sure that wherever she is present, Krishna should not be there, and vice versa. And surely this happens for some time. Satyabhama understands this, that Rukmini is trying to separate. So she goes to a river by the name Kaliya Lake. Because in Dwaraka also you have Nava Vrindavan, a replica of Vrindavan. Satyabhama goes there, jumps into the waters, and as she jumps into the waters, there are two snakes waiting for her. And she looks at the snakes and says, Hari Bol, I am your Mahaprasadam. Please devour me because Krishna is not ready to accept. I am not even practically seeing him. You can take charge of me. And she's closing her eyes thinking, these two snakes, please come and devour me. And she's waiting and waiting and waiting. This is underwater. And she looks and says, hey, have the snakes forgotten their dharma? They are not killing me. What kind of snake? Chi. लालच है. Snake हो के चबाना नहीं आता, मारना नहीं आता, कैसे snake हो? But Rupa Goswami explains, it is our Sri Krishna who was protecting Satyabhama from behind. And this was underneath. And Rukmini is seeing all this. When they come out, Rukmini understands it's enough of separating them. They have been away for a long time. And when Krishna went underneath the water, not just to protect Kaliya, because Krishna didn't kill Kaliya, it is just to give, Krishna gave his autograph on the head of Kaliya by dancing. Likewise, Krishna goes underwater and protects Satyabhama, and it is Rukmini who later does the marriage of Satyabhama and Krishna. Both of them get married. So it's very fascinating that how we see, whether it's the Dwaraka Leela or whether it is Sri Ram's pastimes, whether it's Krishna and Vrindavan or whether it's Radharani coming as Satyabhama, all of the places we find either the devotee is madly dancing in love for his Lord or the Lord is madly dancing in love for his devotee. It's a very sacred relationship that a devotee has with the Lord. It's a very sacred relationship. And we see this is what Mahaprabhu is coming to experience. And this is what Srila Prabhupada is coming to give all of us. Having said this, I very humbly want to stop here, only to meet tomorrow to continue on the same theme of how the Lord and His devotees both dance in divine love for each other. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.